Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Lena. I'm an incoming medical student in the US who applied to medical schools in the 2020 to 2021 application cycle. In this video, I'll be showing you all of the activities that are listed on my medical school application. If you are interested in an overview of the works and activities section, tips on how to approach this section with certain examples, please check out this previous video that I have uploaded on my channel. So I will divide this video into 4 sections, including my research experiences, teaching experiences, community service experiences, both clinical and non-clinical, and other experiences. That includes honors that I have earned, leadership. My hope here is to provide you all with a glance on my path to medical school, but please keep in mind that all paths and journeys to medical schools are different and unique, so don't feel pressured that you need to do something similar as what I'm doing. In fact, do the activities that you love, and if medicine is one of them, you will get there no matter what. So without further ado, let's begin. First of all is my teaching experience. I'm currently working as a teacher for Teach for America, so I have listed it over here. I'm working full-time, so my total hours is 3,450. I did not list this as one of my most meaningful experiences because I wrote about it extensively in my personal statement. One quote from this experience that I described is that overcoming barriers to equity and building trusting relationships as an educator will carry on to my future medical career. So I really wanted to try to connect my dedication to education equity to a future career in medicine and practice community medicine in the future. And then another tutoring experience is that I was an academic tutor in biochemistry and human physiology in college. Total hours was 176. This was not one of my most meaningful experiences, and one quote from the description is that I found great joy when my tutees overcame feelings of frustration and showed an understanding of the content through independent reasoning. The interactions with my tutees made me realize how much I love being in a supportive role for people. So this last sentence is really trying to connect this experience with qualities that would make me a good physician, including patience, adaptability to other people's styles. And then comes community service. So for this section, there's clinical as well as non-clinical. For clinical experiences, I was emergency medical technician for my school. Total hours committed 480 hours. This was not one of my most meaningful experiences. Quote here is that what made me thrive in this job was being of service to the people in their vulnerable states and working alongside other compassionate medical providers. I learned the importance of collaboration in the healthcare field, while imparting strength and hope to patients navigating uncertain situations. This experience I also wrote more about in my personal statement. In this description box, it's kind of like providing you a prelude to the personal statement. And another medical related community service activity is that I was a clinic assistant at one of the clinics serving an underserved population, and this experience I also wrote more extensively in my personal statement as well. One quote from this experience is that I gained more perspective on the US healthcare status quo and its effect on the underserved. Witnessing how convenient and affordable healthcare in the community can help patients overcome environmental limitations encourages me to become part of this effort as a physician. As you could see so far, I really am trying to emphasize my role as a future community physician who advocates for patients and for communities, and that's what I'm trying to show in almost all of my experiences. And then comes the non-clinical part. So I did a lot of non-clinical volunteering experiences. First of all, I was a trip leader for Alternative Spring Break, where we focused on refugee care in Nashville, Tennessee. For this experience, I recruited 11 volunteers and I contacted nonprofit organizations supporting refugees. A quote from this experience: "Through connecting with refugee children and their families, we learned about the significant difficulties they faced and were inspired by the nonprofit organization's efforts to alleviate them. I was very proud that the trip motivated the volunteers to lead their projects addressing refugee care." I also provided a link to a video that one of the volunteers made for our trip. I'm not sure if the admissions committee had time to actually look at the video, but I think it was a really good visual example to provide to the admissions committee. And then I was the president of one of the service organizations called Siching Compassionate Youth. I started during my freshman year and committed a total of 640 hours to this organization. So in this organization, we did a lot of volunteering for disaster reliefs. We would go to senior centers and bring out performances, plant trees around the neighborhood, a lot of service related events. So I was really trying to connect all of these service events with my hope to become a community physician in the future. A quote I want to share here is, "These acts of service grounded me in the present moments of establishing genuine connections with people from different backgrounds and developed my values and skills as a community leader." In the next experience, I was the facilitator of a Crossroads program. This program was under the social justice program, where I would, with other Crossroad facilitators, lead and retreat for incoming first-year students to our college and engage in discussions as well as activities on identities, intersectionalities, and diversity, and more importantly is to build community among all of the members who are joining the retreat. Also, I was a tutor and project coordinator for Project Shine, which is a program to tutor English as a second language to refugee children. I spent a year or so doing this program. One quote from this experience is, "The connection I have built with the refugee children and their families encouraged me to be a voice for them and empower them with community resources." Again, this is tying to my aspirations of being a physician grounded into the community and supporting vulnerable populations. And then comes the research experience. So the first one is research on optic nerve crush. I started this research project during my second year of college and was continuing throughout my college career. During my senior year of college, I got to write an honors thesis on this research project, and after college, I eventually got to publish it. What I focused on here was what I learned through this research project. Quote here is, "The intellectually rigorous pursuit has taught me how to design experiments, critically evaluate methods and data, and present scientific information effectively. Most importantly, it nurtured my growth as an independent thinker with resolute attitude." So rather than listing all of the skills, lab techniques, here I focused on how I developed qualities that are important to becoming a physician in the future. And then I wrote about another research experience that I did during my last year of college. It was also research regarding ophthalmology. One quote from this experience is, "The lab meetings enabled me to learn how my work builds upon that of my lab mates and be flexible with changes. We presented and discussed our data and established the next steps with group consent every week." So right here, I'm really trying to emphasize my teamwork experience. I took another deep dive into my interest in the visual system and enjoyed working collaboratively on a research team. And then comes physician shadowing. I shadowed both inpatient and outpatient neurologist as well as emergency medicine physician. I listed them as different entries because one of them I got to really engage profoundly with the patient cases and took a really deep dive into the pathophysiology and the clinical trials regarding the diseases. that was one of my most meaningful experiences, so I listed the shadowing experiences in separate entries. From the first shadowing experience with a neurologist, one of the quotes is that, "Through observing such rituals of healing, I realized that patients need someone attending to their sufferings just as much as they need medical treatments. Trust and vulnerability are gifts bestowed on physicians who return them in kind with answers and, more importantly, reassurance." And then from shadowing the inpatient neurologist and emergency medicine physician, I combined them into one entry. So a quote here is that, "Showing compassionate care and sensitivity to their patients' needs, Dr. B and Dr. W are physicians that I aspire to emulate." So really showing that I have learned so much from these physicians, their qualities, and how I will apply that into my future qualities as being a physician. And lastly, all of the other experiences that I have listed on my AMCAS application. First of all, I was one of the co-founders of Emory Education and Medical Emergencies, where we teach two-step CPR around the community in high schools and at different events, and also do seminars and workshops on literacy regarding medical emergencies. So in the description, I emphasize what I specifically did, qualities that I showed through this experience, and one quote from this description is that, "I organized and invited speakers to forums on stroke and traumatic brain injuries and collaborated with local high school teachers to bring out workshops on life-saving skills. I value this organization as a legacy we built on the Emory campus, which continues to address literacy and emergency medicine." And other experience also includes honors and reward. I was a member of NeuroSci, which is an honor society for neuroscience majors. And one sentence from this experience is, "The other scholars' unique points of view continuously stimulated my perspectives, and the collaboration among us made me recognize scholarship as a collective achievement." And last but not the least, I listed one of the paid employment experiences that I had at the Carter Center Health Communications Office, where I did a lot of office paperwork regarding neglected tropical diseases, exhibitions on the neglected tropical diseases, and really learned about all of the global health disparities through this paid employment. So one sentence from this experience description is that, "I acquired more insight into global health disparities and learned to advocate for such issues through multiple modes of communication." And that includes presenting at an exhibition on neglected tropical diseases. In summary, a big part of my application is around teaching community service, because service, advocacy, supporting vulnerable populations, as well as building community and improving health literacy are really the reasons I want to go into a career in medicine. I showed that in my activity section, my personal statement section, as well as my secondary essays to the schools that I've applied to. I really hope that you have enjoyed this video and found the content useful. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Please leave me any comments or questions that you have regarding the works and activities section. Check out this video if you're curious about the tips and how to approach this section when you're applying to medical schools. Check out my other videos if you are interested in content related to pre-med or applying to medical school, and follow along with my journey to medical school and in medical school. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.